In May 2011, two high school friends and self-identifying film buffs saw the movie Thor together in theaters. These men promptly went their separate ways and mysteriously didn't communicate for a decade. Today, still obsessed with movies, they reunite as podcasters of fortune with the mission to tackle the movies and debates they missed out on for 10 years. On this podcast, they are always catching up. All right.
So hey guys, we're immediately going back in time. I've caught Daniel on the run right now, and I'm like, hey, we have to go back. We have to go back to 2011, and we have to talk about these films. And by these films, I mean Fright Night and Conan the Barbarian. Guess what?
I feel like I'd be the one chasing you down.
No. I'm chasing you down, all right? Because I've had too much to drink, and I cannot drive this car, which, by the way, that is a lie. I'm 100% sober right now, but I'm just so amped and pumped up to talk about this. He's in tears right now for how excited he is about this. Can you guys believe we are taking this DeLorean back to 2011? I believe August. Daniel, am I correct?
Yes, it's
2011. Yes. So, guys, welcome to Catching Up with Aaron and Daniel. I'm Aaron. He's Daniel. I swear he didn't just find out that his cat died. He is just so excited.
I don't know
about the fact that we are going back in time to talk about these. I can't wait. Daniel, let's make this baby hit 88 miles per hour so we can have some serious shit.
All right. Okay. I have not laughed, cried in a while, so thank you.
You're welcome.
That was the high point of this episode.
Yeah, exactly.
All downhill from here.
It is.
Okay.
Oh man.
All right. So we're out of the time machine, Aaron. It is
What did
August.
I do? What did I do? Why are we here? Why? I mean, one of these movies is okay, but why?
You're the one who suggested it.
I suggested this just because it was the worst movie I'd ever seen up to this point.
Okay. All right. So it's August 2011. We're talking about Fright Night and Conan the Barbarian, two remakes. Well, the first one's a remake.
Do you want to go in? Which one do you want to talk about first?
Let's do Fright Night first. So anyway, old news time. It's old. There's not a lot of old. There's not a lot of old news this time. But so in mid to late August of 2011, it was reported that Bruce Willis was in talks for G.I. Joe Retaliation, which he would wind up being in, and was actually pretty good in it. He was like really good things about it.
It was one of the last times that he like actually cared. This was right. I feel like we're at the tail end of Bruce Willis not being in straight to video films.
Yeah. No, that came out 2012. So that was like the last year, because that was Looper year. Yep. So that was the last year where Bruce Willis gave a damn.
And this goes to the link you sent me this morning.
Yes, the Razzies
that I read this morning. So
yes, the Razzies have an entire category devoted to the 7 or so straight to video movies that you can't even call them straight to video anymore, really. Like
VOD,
yeah. So he had 7 of them, Bruce Willis, last year.
Well, write that man a check, because what I hear is that he doesn't do any of those movies for less than $1 million. So
he has to have like tax problems or something.
He just doesn't care anymore. He's getting residuals from everything. So I mean, he's a guy who doesn't need to work anymore. So
yeah.
I mean,
unless he has tax problems. So.
I don't think he's Nicolas Cage, so I don't think he has money issues. So I think he's just a guy who's like, I don't want to do this anymore, and if I do have to do this, you're going to pay me a lot of money. So,
so second old news item. It was reported that World War Z was given an initial release date of December 2012, but it actually wouldn't come out until June 2013.
I've never seen that.
Neither have I. That's probably going to go on the list. So, because
did you ever read the book?
I listened to the audiobook. which was pretty. It was pretty good. It had a really good cast. I think Mark Hamill might have been in it.
I think Henry Rollins was a voice in that as well.
But yeah, so this was actually the biggest news item that I could find, because the Wayback Machine website wasn't really agreeing with going back to August 2011. So
rough time.
So it was really hard to find articles from then. But it was reported in August of 2011 that Disney had decided to cancel the Lone Ranger movie starring Johnny Depp and Armie Hammer over concerns about its ballooning budget, which I don't remember hearing this back in 2011, that it was just outright canceled over its budget. But eventually, within 2 months, a deal was made to resume production on the movie. And it eventually came out in June 2013.
So that was a movie that I watched one day because it was on at my parents' place.
Yeah.
It wasn't nearly as bad as I thought it was going to be, aside from, Johnny Depp playing a Native American character. And
yeah,
I mean, that's probably not even the worst part about it now, with everything that's coming out about Armie Hammer. So,
and Johnny Depp. So.
Hey, Johnny Depp was pretty much clear to that stuff. It's all on the Amber Heard camp. So,
but now he just does
but he did get
cologne commercials.
He did get recast in Harry Potter, right? It's Mads Mikkelsen now.
Yes.
They should have just kept it as Colin Farrell.
What? Wait. Have 3 different people played that role?
So, in the first movie, it's Colin Farrell, and then it's revealed that it's Johnny Depp. So it's him like in a disguise playing a different character, and then it's revealed that he's Grindelwald, Johnny Depp.
Okay.
And then second one, it's that, and then I guess because of all of the stuff between him and Amber Heard, it's switched around. So
okay, but yeah, so the Lone Ranger, which I guess you've seen, I haven't seen. It did come out, and the early 2010s were not good for Disney. No, they
I don't think they knew what they were wanting to do necessarily with, and it was also around this time too that they were doing all the live action stuff, which unfortunately we're still having to watch.
Well, that didn't the live action stuff. I don't think that started for a few more years, because of what was happening in the early 2010s is like they were making movies like Lone Ranger, which only made
Alice in Wonderland come out.
Was that the first one? No, they did Cinderella. I know that.
That was later.
There was the Great Powerful. There was the Oz movie.
That's not a cartoon. I'm not talking the remakes of their cartoons. So
Cinderella was 2015.
What was Alice in Wonderland though?
Alice in Wonderland 2010. Okay, all right.
So that was the start of all of
the start. Okay, so but they hadn't. I don't think they'd figured out that was going to be their thing going forward, because like at the time you have Lone Ranger, which only made 89 million domestically, and 260 million worldwide over a reported budget of 215 million. So they were right the first time. Should have just canceled it, especially a movie that no one wanted. So that went into like the same bin as like what was the Mars movie?
John Carter,
like stuff like that.
It wasn't even called Of Mars.
Yeah,
it was just John Carter. So
yeah, that was not a great. Was Prince of Persia a Disney movie?
No,
it wasn't.
That's a video. That was a video game.
I know, but they made a movie.
I don't think that was Disney.
Okay, all right.
Another movie I've never seen. So
I saw that at a drive-in, I think.
Okay.
I think so, but yeah, Lone Ranger should have stayed canceled. So, all right. So on to the main event. First movie, Fright Night, starring Colin Farrell, the late Anton Yelchin, and to my surprise, while I was watching this movie, David Tennant.
Yes.
So
a definite highlight for this movie.
Well, okay, so here's the thing. Yeah, I agree. He was a great addition, but also you could have done without his character. Like it feels like kind of this. What was that character in the original?
So in the original, he's not like a magician. He hosts a show called Fright Night. Same thing.
Okay.
So they just have this guy who's they're like, oh, we need to talk to an expert type of thing. And so it's an older, like Van Helsing-esque character.
Okay.
But also you have to remember at the time where we're at right now in 2011, Chris Angel was a really big thing.
Yeah.
Mind freak. So
yeah,
have when he pulls off the wig, I thought that was a great little bit as well.
Well, here's the thing. Like when I was watching it, there's the thing at the start where his show's playing on TV. Like,
yes.
So I just thought it was like just like a joke. I didn't know that was actually going to turn into a thing in the movies. Like, oh, okay.
So real quick, while we're talking about the very beginning of this movie, I think the beginning of this is just as far as a horror movie setup and just an opening scene, I thought was incredibly well done. And
I like the music. I like the music that was playing.
It made Catherine feel so uncomfortable at the very beginning when he goes and he's hiding under the bed and he's getting the keys out of his dad's pocket, and they've got the shot where he's like this, his dad's behind him, and you just see the body getting pulled while he's just so good. Just I got a very big kick out of that. I forgot about that scene. One thing that I do want to talk about with all of this is that not only were we dealing with a lot of remakes at the time, but this is also at the height of the 3D craze.
Yeah. There's like 2 shots in like the entire movie, and they're not even vital. They're like passing. Well,
that's another thing with all of this. It's not, but there is, I have the Blu-ray here. It says the best use of 3D since Avatar is what it literally says on.
Who's quoted? Who's the quote from?
It is Matt Whitfield from Yahoo Movies.
Okay, Matt.
I think that this is a very fun horror movie.
Yeah.
I feel that a lot of the comedy sticks. McLovin is in this movie as well.
Oh, yeah, I was surprised. Oh, so this was the other movie he was in.
Did you ever see Role Models?
Oh no. Okay, I forgot about that. I haven't seen it. I've seen Kick-Ass? He's in Kick-Ass? Okay. All right. I have not watched the first Kick-Ass.
He's Mark Strong's
so long.
He's Mark Strong's son in Kick-Ass.
Okay. All right. I totally forgot. So, but no, I was not expecting him to be in that. So it was like, oh, hey, McLovin.
So with this, I think it's cool that there's not really a mystery who the vampire is. Where I just immediately thrown in being, hey, it's Colin Farrell, who I feel gives a very charismatic performance as a villain. I feel he's a lot of fun. The love interest in this movie, I cannot remember the actress's name.
Yeah.
But she's in another film that I also really enjoy with with Anton, called Green Room.
Oh, okay.
That has Patrick Stewart in it as well.
Yeah.
And so when I watched it, I was just like, oh, like, because I haven't seen this movie since it came out.
Yeah. And
it was just like, oh, they're together in Green Room as well. So I thought that was very interesting. It's just
I thought her character, there wasn't really much to her. She's just there. She's just along for the ride.
Yeah. But it's, damsel in distress type of thing. Have to have the girl in there. It was funny seeing Baby Franco in this as well.
So like, do you remember the first time you remember encountering Dave Franco?
21 Jump Street.
Same.
which I guess isn't the case. I guess it was this.
Yeah.
So,
but no, I like when I watched 21 Jump Street for the first time, I had no idea who he was. So I spent the entire movie going, man, this guy really was really trying really hard to be James Franco. Like
Man,
I thought he was that was the vibe he had. And I had no idea he was his brother. So
Yeah.
I just thought he was just trying to like posture like James Franco. That's what I thought the entire movie. And then Dave Franco on the credits.
And lo and behold, he's Franco.
Yes.
But I feel that this movie does. I know horror isn't really your thing,
No.
but like I said, that opening shot,
Mhm.
I really enjoyed. I also really enjoy when he's trying to save his neighbor, and they're just going around his house, and he's obviously he knows that they're there. He's just messing with them, and because he knows what's going to happen when they go outside. And that was a big surprise too, with her just immediately like.
Oh yeah. I was like, that was a no shit moment for me. It's like, oh wow, was not expecting that.
I also enjoyed the car when they're trying to get to Vegas and they're after the house explodes, as they're going away from him, and the circular shots throughout as the car chase scene, and then the actor who hits them, who Colin Farrell kills. Prince Humperdinck from Princess Bride. He is the voice of Jack Skellington in The Nightmare Before Christmas. He is also the character that Colin Farrell plays in the original Fright Night.
Oh, okay.
So cool. That's a nice little like, hey, here you go for everybody that's watched that. But I don't necessarily know if there's a lot to say about this one other than it's fun. It can definitely make the rotation for Halloween if you want to put on just a fun little horror movie, but definitely not the worst thing I've seen. And as far as because that's coming, and I honestly felt that a lot of the CG in it didn't date horribly.
I can't remember a lot of CG off the top of my head.
A lot of the transformations that he has, he's completely computer generated with it. So
some notes I got. I liked, like you talk about the opening scene. I really like that. I like how it kind of contrasted the mundanity of the suburbs with this horror thing. I thought that was really good counterbalance, or whatever you want to call it. I want a smash cut of movie characters or TV characters saying, that's fiction, or that's a movie, this is real life. I always like that when that line gets dropped in a movie.
It's a drinking game.
That's I can't remember who said it in the movie, but I wrote that down. That's fiction, this is real. It's like I want a smash cut of that. But like you said, the movie gets into it really quick. And I liked that. Like I like that McLovin's character is ahead of everyone else. Though it doesn't tell you how he got on that guy's trail or anything, just that he did somehow and put the pieces together. And then all Anton Yelchin's character has to do is just watch some videos on the computer, and he's sold. It's like, okay, all right. So it was a nice thing to get the story going.
I think that's one thing that really works for this movie is it's very well paced, and it's just it knows what it is, and it's not trying to be more. It's just like, we're just going to take you on this ride, and at the end of it, it's done. It's another nice thing about this time period too, is it was before they were just like, we have to make a franchise, we have to lead to something else. It's just like, here's this nice little fun, like I would imagine 90-minute standalone movie that you could put on. So
what else? Just another random note. Budweiser, the official beer of killer vampires.
Speaking of product placement, I remember seeing this, and it was one of the big takeaways in McLovin's room and Anton's room. He's got Magic the Gathering posters, and I'm a geek and I play Magic the Gathering, so I noticed that when I watched it the first time, and then going back and watching it now, I'm like, oh yeah, I forgot that there were Magic posters in this, because that's how you tell if somebody's a geek, is they play a card game.
I would watch a TV show about David Tennant's character.
Yes,
I would definitely do that. Like
I would go see a stage show of him. Like if he was playing in Vegas, I would be there.
no, he was a fun character that had history with the bad guy. They don't really get into it too much, but enough to help convey that they have history together.
Yeah.
But like I said, he's a fun addition, but like you could have like taken him out. I think you could have.
It's because there's that character in the original.
Yeah.
And it keeps it away from being just teens versus. I mean, he doesn't do a whole lot. He's there for set pieces. But yeah. I'm fine with a much more interesting character as opposed to them being like, hey, we have to go grab this MacGuffin.
Yeah.
And have it be for set pieces. So
McLovin being in anything resembling an action sequence is funny to me. Like he gets a fight scene. Like that's
his hair really bothered me in that scene. I felt like it changed a couple times. I don't know if they had to do reshoots or if it was the makeup, but I felt like his hair was longer in some shots in the same sequence.
Okay.
I felt like his hair was longer in some shots and then shorter, and I don't know. It might just be me. So.
I don't remember. I did when the movie was over and the name Tom Holland came up in the credits. I was like, wait, what? I was very confused.
Is baby Tom Holland in this movie?
Yeah. I was like, I didn't know there was two Tom Hollands in Hollywood. So I thought that was I got a kick out of that. The movie ending with Anton Yelchin and his girlfriend about to have sex in David Tennant's room was really weird. Like what? I know your house got blown up, but
he doesn't have a house. He's like, hey man, I got you covered. Got you covered, man. Here you go. Have fun. I'm not looking. Don't do anything I wouldn't do. What does he say? Because the line's pretty funny at the end of that movie. He's like, don't do anything I wouldn't do. And then he says something that it's not something that you would particularly hear in that. I cannot remember.
I don't remember.
I should have made a note, but I did laugh at that.
Don't remember at all. But it's an enjoyable movie. Harmless. Anton Yelchin was really good as an actor. I really liked him in what's the movie he did with Charlie Bartlett? Did you ever watch Charlie Bartlett?
I didn't. I haven't seen that one.
Robert Downey Jr.'s in it. So you should really check that out. It was a really good high school movie. Like really good.
We watched this, and then we also watched Only Lovers Left Alive shortly after this. It's another vampire film with Anton in it. And it's also got Tom Hiddleston and oh my God, of course I'm drawing a blank on her name. Tilda Swinton is in it as well. And it's just, I don't know, he's in two good vampire flicks. And it's a shame that we lost him, and especially the way that we did lose him.
Yeah. His was like the first like celebrity death that like kind of hit me. Like I wasn't like a huge Anton Yelchin fan.
No.
But like he was 27.
He was a super talented actor who died in a freak accident.
Yeah.
And it's a real shame because he had such a promising career, and luckily we get to have the movies that he was in, and it's a shame that we have that what if now, but I don't know. Everything I've seen him in, I've really enjoyed, and I don't know, maybe we'll get around to you mentioned the Charlie Batliff movie. Maybe we can watch Green Room when it gets there. I'm gonna keep you watching horror movies on this show.
That's white supremacists, right? Yes.
Patrick Stewart as a white supremacist. So,
yay!
Man, at this, oh man, no, I'm not gonna say it. I'm not gonna say it. So,
anyway, have you seen the trailer for Picard season 2?
I have. I haven't watched Picard season 1.
Oh.
And I'm just like, man, like, come on, Whoopi, you have to say some dumbass shit right before Picard season 2.
Yeah. you need to get on season 1, man. You got to. It's not phenomenal.
I just hear it's like fan fiction for it. I'll watch it when it's all wrapped up. I don't have Paramount Plus, so
It's only $5. Get the free trial. Watch the first season.
There are shows that one like I'm having to watch. Which, by the way, person of interest, like Catherine is pumped about us watching that together. She loves that show, which I discovered. So,
how far into it are you?
I've watched 2 episodes.
2 episodes. Okay. That's our person of interest episode is 2 episodes away. So.
Hey, we got this. So.
Okay. So where were we? Anton
Fun. Anton.
Yeah.
R.I.P.
Yes. I give it 3 out of 5.
Okay.
Stars.
Are we doing stars or are we doing letter grades?
Okay, letter
grades.
Letter grade.
I give it a B. Give it just a middle of the road B. I'm not gonna give it a B minus or anything.
Oh, I was B minus. I was gonna say B minus.
Maybe like 82%, which is enough for a B. So.
Yeah. That's it. It's a good, harmless movie. Would I watch it again? Probably not.
It's one of those ones that, I mean, there's a handful of horror movies that you can just put on and be like, hey, this is fun, and take it for what it is. And this is one of them. And I feel like this is one that could, like I said, if I'm making a recommendation to somebody if this was on a streaming service or anything around Halloween, it's like, yeah, put it on. Also watch the original, because the original is great as well. I love the original more than I like this one. But
what's the thing about this movie that dates it for you? What's the thing that says, oh yeah, this movie came out in August 2011?
I don't know. Was there something specific for you, or
Pumped Up, Foster the People's Pumped Up Kicks playing?
Okay.
That was like, and I think the girlfriend drives around a beetle.
So, okay, so going back to Pete, was it Peacemaker that was talking about Pumped Up Kicks? Yeah, it was Peacemaker, because they were talking about, it's about school shootings. Like, so I thought it was funny that I would watch that episode and then, hearing it on this. So.
Yeah, I didn't have that realization about what that song was about until recently. So
really?
This was a party song, basically.
I mean, hold on. I have to check, and I have to make sure that I get a name correctly on this. Okay, so funny bit about that song. I'm in a locker room at Ohio Valley Wrestling. It's when I'm training to wrestle, and I am. You can show pictures of this for this, so you can see who these people are. Jesse Goddard's and Rob Terry are having a discussion about that song, and he's just like, "Do you know what this is about?" Jesse's talking to Rob. These guys are huge, just jack dudes. Like, no, I have no idea what the song's about. And I'm just like, it's about school shootings. And he's like, what? And just, I got bonus points with Jesse for knowing about this, but just seeing the expression on Rob Terry's face. And I cannot wait for you. Here, Google Rob Terry real quick. I want you to see, look at how big this guy is. Rob Terry.
Is it just Terry?
Yep.
Rob Terry, professional wrestler. Yep, he's a big dude.
Yep. And just him losing his mind about finding out that was about that school shootings. So
yeah, you put a upbeat, catchy tune to and you completely glosses over. You have no idea what you're listening to.
Yeah, I mean, you should listen to Semi Charm Live by Blink-182 as well. See what that one's about. Getting pop radio play. It's the best. All right. So here we go. You mentioned the main event earlier. This is the main event. This is what we've been waiting for to talk about since we started this show. It's my way of getting back at everyone and making them watch this giant piece of shit. I'm sorry for using more, but Conan the Barbarian 2011, starring Jason Momoa, which, by the way, real quick, this is why I bought physical media for this. Please snap. It won't snap because it's bound in hellfire. I'm bending this thing like crazy and it will not break. You know why? Because this movie is just going to be curse you know, all of us for the rest of our lives. Look at this. I thought it would snap. I thought it was cool, but no, that's all I did to it. It won't break. I should have bought a pair of scissors. Here I am, but you know what? Fine. There it is. I'm going to have it be a chew toy for Zeus. This movie is garbage. This movie is absolute garbage. This is the worst thing that we're going to watch on this thing until maybe Jupiter Ascending. But you know what? At least Jupiter Ascending wasn't a property that I grew up loving. So no, this movie is absolute garbage. It's got Ron Perlman in it. I love Ron Perlman. But so the first 15 minutes of this movie, they do in 5 minutes in the original one. When I put this movie on, I was like, how the hell is this movie almost 2 hours long? We watched Fright Night, which we talked about being like well-paced and knowing what it was. Conan had no business being a 2-hour movie. Oh man, okay. But yeah, the very beginning of the original movie, this is me going on a huge rant. This is why it's gonna take so long, was 5 minutes. Them doing the sword, him talking to his dad and learning about Crom, Riddle of Steel, all of that, 5 minutes. Done, montage, awesome. There's no stupid chase where Kid Conan wrecks 3 people. It's like, why am I supposed to give a shit about you at all if you can do all of this already as a child? Go ahead. That's me with my 15-minute rant with that. Or the first 15 minutes of this movie.
I took notes, but this movie just like went in one ear and out the other. Like I could not commit anything to memory as it was happening. It's like first off, Morgan Freeman. How much did they pay Morgan Freeman?
Uncredited voiceover for that. I totally forgotten that he'd done this. In the original, also the monologue at the very beginning of it does pretty much the exact same thing, except it's a much condensed version and doesn't give you exposition in it.
Okay.
It's just, you know, here's the time that we're in and tells you who Conan is real quick, and then it's just like, let me tell you the days of high adventure. That's it. We're off rolling and we see what happens. But yeah, I was absolutely blown away. I mean, again, it goes to with actors, just write me a check. He didn't have to be there. He probably knocked that out in one sitting. So
yeah, I think
it took him less time to record that than it is for me to talk about how much I hate this movie. And he's getting paid.
Yeah,
he's winning. I'm doing it wrong.
Here's my thing: is like, okay, so there was exposition in the original. So my thing is barely. Okay, barely.
I mean, it's just, here's the setting.
Okay.
Conan, you know, destined to wear the crown. Here he is, and it's like I'm his chronicle. Let me tell you the days of high adventure. Now, music starts. We're off to the races.
All right. So I think we've talked about this maybe. But like if you're starting your movie with exposition, with a monologue from some unseen voice or from a character itself, having to explain the world or just having to explain what's basic about your world, you're fighting a losing battle already. I can't tell you the mythology of this movie. I can't tell you character names. It just,
well, okay. So on top of that too, we don't know in the original movie when we don't see his mom get killed. Like he's not born on a battlefield or anything.
Hey, a pregnant woman being stabbed in a battle is a heck of a way to start a movie. Like, what the hell? Like that.
So that happened, and that's another thing with this is this movie is just like over the top violent for the sake of being over the top violent.
Yeah.
None of it, and also it doesn't feel like anything has weight when it's like that. But so we don't know why the villain in the original movie is coming there. He's just there to wreck shop.
Mm-hmm.
Kills the entire village. There's no the I love you son drove me insane when Ron Perlman said that. I'm just like, you're freaking barbarians. I'm like, why? That whole bit and so bad. That's so. And then so again, it's villains going to get a MacGuffin.
Yeah.
In the original one, villages destroyed, and Conan and some other kids are put into slavery. Not, hey, just magically went off and got to, live for 20 years by myself and become this rollicking guy. It's like, no, it was like he was a slave and then started going into pretty much like gladiatorial combat. And then he just started winning, and then that's why they let him go. It's because he became a champion. There's really nobody else for him to fight. Okay. And in this, it's just set piece. Oh, here I am making quibs, and that's another thing that drives me insane about this. It's like, why are you? Just...
Yeah, that was one thing I remember thinking. Is like, this is nothing but set pieces, really.
And the tone is so off too. None of the comedy works. Him and the lead, the female actress, don't have any chemistry together. Okay,
so I find it funny that this movie came out the same year as Thor, because this kind of shares some elements with Thor,
except one is actually has two relatively talented actors, as opposed to one who, as much as I like Jason Momoa, not a great actor.
But this has a worse romance than Thor.
Yes,
and that's saying a lot.
And the incest angle in this has a much higher chemistry. Did you not get that with Rose McGowan and her dad when she's trying to rub up all on him? Made Catherine feel super uncomfortable.
Did not. Nope.
No, didn't catch that. Yeah,
like I said,
it's really bad. This movie's just really bad. Also, there's never a bit where, again, I'm just going to keep comparing this to the original, which obviously I have to do. There's no part in it where he has any real heat on him, where it's just, you never see him down at any point. At one point in the original, he's going after Thulsa Doom, who, by the way, is okay, so you really should go and watch the original Conan. Arnold Schwarzenegger, James Earl Jones is the villain. I hope that's a selling point for you.
Yeah, it is.
yeah. It's amazing soundtrack on that, but and none of the side characters, I couldn't, again, like you said, you didn't know names. At one point, the thief who has the eye patch, I think when he's getting freed at the very beginning of it, he's not wearing the eye patch. So I thought it was a gimmick for him. And then later on, he's still got the eye patch on. But there's no point where he's down and out. At one point in the original, he goes after the villain, it fails, and he gets crucified. He dies pretty much, and his love interest has to sacrifice herself to make a deal with the gods pretty much to save his life. And in this, it's just nope, we're up. Pirates are coming after us, where we could pretty much wreck the crew and barely get away type of thing. Nope, we're up. And it's so bad, man. And with the thing that also irks me about this is we're going to be talking about Game of Thrones, and we have Jason Momoa in the exact same year playing a barbarian and just coming off like a complete badass. And in this one, not so much.
I thought the scene where Conan and his friends or whatever push the boulders down to take out
his posse to get rid of the slavers.
I thought, let's unleash these uncontrollable boulders that could potentially also harm the people you're trying to rescue.
Yeah. And then on top of that, it's just oh, hey, all these freed female slaves just with their tits out and everything. Oh, I'm sure that you were a slave and everything, were probably possibly sexually assaulted on multiple occasions. You're just gonna go and start hooking up with the guys that freed you. We're here to party now. We're free.
And then you have the just Skinamax level sex scene in the middle of this movie.
It's the other thing is this actress, I cannot remember her name. She's in The Mist. Thought she was great in The Mist, but she's also in another remake of a movie that I genuinely like that I hate the remake of, and that's Clash of the Titans with Sam Worthington.
Rachel Nichols.
Yeah. Just, oh man, this movie's so bad. And you had probably the best review of it when you sent me the text message after you watched it. I think you were just like, well, that was a movie. And that was sci-fi original levels of bad. And
yes,
but I don't understand it when you make movies like this that just tarnish an IP, and when you could just literally put out the original. It's a hell of a lot cheaper for you. There are people that will watch it, and you're not really losing anything, as opposed to this that you spent how much money on and just absolutely flops.
Well, let's look. Conan the Barbarian.
I laughed at Bob Sapp being one of the henchmen.
I don't know who that is.
The big black guy. He's in Longest Yard as well.
Oh, okay. So this had a budget, according to Box Office Mojo, of $90 million.
$90 million. And how much did it make?
Domestically, 21 million. Worldwide, 63.
Okay.
So
didn't even just down 30 million on it, and made it to where there will probably be there will never be another Conan movie at all because of this. We're never going to get like old Arnold King Conan. But hey, we're getting him as Zeus at the Super Bowl, so I'm excited about that.
Oh yeah, that's. Wait, is that Zeus thing just like a Super Bowl thing?
Yeah, it's just gonna be a commercial.
Oh,
I don't trust anything that comes out that we didn't know about beforehand until the Super Bowl's over.
Do you remember the year? Do you remember the year?
Crocodile Dundee.
Is
that the one you're talking about?
No. The year that Matthew Broderick did a commercial that was supposed to be like Ferris Bueller.
I vaguely remember that. The one that I remember is Danny McBride they were talking about doing the like Crocodile Dundee.
Yeah.
I remember that. All it was just a commercial to go visit Australia.
Yeah, they like they said, they did the same thing with Matthew Broderick. They teased it ahead of time and made you think, are they doing a Ferris Bueller sequel? No, no, it was what was it?
They did the same thing with Jeff Bridges and the Dude. I think it was like 2 years ago.
I don't remember that one. Wait, maybe I do. Vaguely remember that. So, yeah.
But we haven't, real quick, we haven't talked about the villains in this movie.
Go off. Just go off. I'll just sit here.
Well, we had Rose McGowan before, she just went after Weinstein, and rightfully so, by the way. But just
what were up with her claws? I don't
know. It didn't work at all. And I think at this time too, they were talking. Robert Rodriguez was talking about doing a Red Sonja movie with her as the lead. And then I cannot remember his name, but the villain in this is also the villain in Avatar, which we were talking about earlier.
Oh yeah. Stephen Lang as Kolar Zim. Because that's not hard to say.
So villain name in the original was Thulsa Doom, like pretty, like Doom. Hey, pretty easy to say. And I hate it. It's one thing that I really dislike in fantasy set pieces is when weapons are way over the top and they don't need to be. Like his sword was on the spinner and the dual blade, and it's a little bit too much for me. What do you think of the Sand People, not the Tusken Raiders, but the Sand People fight scene?
It was interesting.
Okay.
I mean, it wasn't that might have been the most interesting thing about the movie, but I just had to I had to remember it when you said it. It's like Sand. Did
it crack you up that like his whole army disappeared for the final act that he had? His invading force, to where all he had was like a couple priests with him at the end of the movie. Again, like he just watched this movie.
Well, it's been 2 weeks.
2 weeks, okay.
So
And you know what? It's you try very hard to forget this film.
I did.
And
I
I'm
had to
sure
I had to push through. I had to push through to finish it.
he did this. We did this for you. All right. We did this for you. All
Now
right.
pay us. Now pay us.
I'm not even going to ask for that. What I'm going to ask for is that you never watch this movie. If it ever comes up in conversation, just say it's horrible. It's not worth your time. Go watch Conan the Barbarian, the original, and Conan the Destroyer. Go watch those movies. Go watch good movies. All right. Don't watch this. This is, as much as I absolutely love doing this with you, Daniel, watching this movie made me completely rethink doing this podcast and thinking, is it worth it?
This was the point of no return. And now that we've gone by it, we can never stop.
Yes. I mean, this was us crossing the Rubicon. We've done it now, and nothing can be worse than this. I'm amazed that we have not just become raging alcoholics and that we're not just drinking now to forget about this film and the horrible, horrible PTSD that it's going to give us for the rest of our lives.
Well, I'm just glad I don't have to think about it again.
Is this the worst movie you've ever seen?
I saw Dragon Ball Evolution in theaters.
Okay. So is that the worst movie you've ever seen?
It's always the one that like pops in my head.
I've got to say, like, one thing about this is some of the set pieces and the production value of this film pretty good. That's about all I'll give it.
Hey, you had a cool pirate ship.
Yeah. And I asked Catherine, I was like, were pirates big at this point? Was it a big, like, and I had to look up like when the Pirates of the Caribbean movies were coming out.
Yeah.
I was like, this is part of this. But for a long time, and also this for me, up until I saw Jupiter Ascending, because Jupiter Ascending was one that I literally had to be like, am I seeing this again? Like, do we stop and keep watching?
Mm-hmm.
And I'll tell that story. I don't know if I've told it on here, or I'll tell it on another when we eventually get there. But this was a movie that I went to the movie theater, watched it. My ex-girlfriend wanted to see it. I had no desire to see it because I knew how bad it was going to be. And I said, if this movie is bad, you can never pick another movie we see at the movie theater. She said, okay. Halfway through the movie, she turns to me and says, this movie's really bad. Do you want to leave? And I was like, I paid to see this movie because she wanted to see it. And then 2, I had to stay till the end because I needed as much ammo to throw at this movie for how absolutely horrible it was. And we walked out and I said, I have to watch Conan after this. I went and watched the original movie to get the taste out of my mouth from this. And I've done that 2 other times now since then. And it was for the David Harbour Hellboy film and Terminator Genesis, however you say that. Genesis?
Genesis.
There's a Y.
I know, but
there's a Y.
I know.
Why? So I went and watched Terminator 2 after that. But God, this movie's just so bad. Don't watch it. It has absolutely no redeeming qualities whatsoever. I mean, Batman and Robin has puns.
Hey,
they're bad movies that you can watch.
You get to see Jason Momoa's butt. Hey, right? I mean,
sure. You know what? It's 2011 now, but when you're watching this, it's going to be 2022. You have a phone, and you can literally just say, "Hey, type it in Jason Momoa's butt," and it can show it to you. You know what? You can look up wonderful things on this phone. If you want to see Jason Momoa's butt, do that. I'm sure you could probably just Google, or you know what? I bet you can go on YouTube right now and look up, the sex scene from this movie if you want to. The Cinemax sex scene, as my wonderful co-host called it earlier.
That's what it was. It was on par with that, with it just like starting really out of nowhere, and the way it's shot is just like, oh yeah, this is softcore. That's what this is. And then it's over, and then you see Jason Momoa's butt, and
I like how she just left him. It's like with that as well. It's like, hey, we just boned, and now, and she's the one who leaves. Usually, be the dude, and especially, since he's a barbarian and everything, and doesn't have just like, man, I'm done, leave. So this movie's just really bad.
It was. So let's look at the creative team for this movie.
Have they done anything else?
Directed by Marcus Nispel. Never heard of that. Never heard that name. What else has he done before and since? Oh, he is not. He directed a movie called Exeter, Exeter, in 2015. That was the last thing he directed. I have no idea. And Stephen Lang was in that too. So, but yeah. Before this, he had directed Friday the 13th in 2009.
Never saw that.
Texas Chainsaw Massacre in 2003.
Really?
And a bunch of music videos before that.
So I enjoyed the Texas Chainsaw Massacre remake that came out in 2003. And then, we've got the Netflix one coming out soon as well. But no, this was really bad.
Yeah.
I'm just going to keep saying it. It's really, really bad.
It's a D. It gets a D from me. So
that's a passing grade.
That's not a passing grade.
D for diploma, man. D for diploma. I got a D. It should be D for dog shit.
Okay. All right.
No, F. Hard F. 0. 0 out of 100. There's nothing good about this movie at all.
All right. So that's
so bad.
That's
a D. You give it a D. Seriously?
It's the state's.
I'm curious. So what does Dragon Ball, the movie that starts with a D, get an F from you? Because it's less than? What's worse than this? Name a movie other than Dragon Ball that's worse than this movie. You have to fail sometimes. And this is
epic movie, date movie.
Those movies. Those are parody movies and are supposed to be bad and are made on the cheap. And I guarantee those movies at least turn a profit.
Okay.
Oh my God. Hey, you know what? I've got my co-host crying because he's had to put up with my pain right now. Just imagine if we were drinking together right now and how horrible it'd be, because I'd probably be the one crying out of sadness and anger. But I'm able to hold it together. I'm able to hold my emotions together because I'm sober right now. But
we'll drink together on the next episode. We'll be in person again.
What is the next episode?
The next double feature on catching up with Aaron and Daniel. Shoot, come on. Scroll. Is Goon, the hockey comedy, starring that one guy from American Pie. Yes, him. And the other one is a movie. I like both these movies. You're Next, which is like a survival horror. No, it's not really. It's not horror. House invasion.
Okay. I haven't seen Your Next. I watched Goon for the first time in 2020 and absolutely loved it. Quite a few parallels to professional wrestling in that one. Looking forward to the next one. Definitely looking forward to getting the taste of Conan out of my mouth and never talking about this movie again. But we probably will, because when we do the recap episode of 2011, we'll have to talk about the worst thing that we watched for this. And I don't see anything really ever surpassing this as far as bad films. So I'm sorry that I made you watch this.
We're better for it.
We're really not. We have a finite amount of time on this earth. And unfortunately, that means that I've spent 4 hours watching this movie. And when I'm being judged at the pearly gates and they ask me why I made my friend Daniel McFadden spend 2 hours of his existence on this planet watching Conan the Barbarian,
Yeah.
I'll have to answer.
What if you go to heaven and you get in based on what your movie tastes were?
It's gonna come down to where this is like a giant sin, a mortal sin, is recommending this movie to
So it says here, Mr. McFadden, that you watched The Shaggy Dog with Tim Allen in theaters in 2005. Is that correct?
Yeah.
I mean, sure, yeah. I mean,
Yeah.
Maybe.
Hey, it's Tim Allen, all right? It's a lot better than this. And this movie made for children, and which, by the way, I bet that movie turned a profit too. So, again, nothing redeemable about this. Thank you all very much for listening to me rant, for having to see me make Daniel cry on multiple occasions. I'm doing my best to make sure that he has a six-pack, doing wonderful ab exercises while he is laughing.
Yeah.
Just wait. Pretty soon, you'll be able to type in Jason Momoa butt, Daniel McFadden six-pack on the Google, and that's where we're going to be. But guys, thank you so much for checking us out. I am Aaron Cohurst.
I'm Daniel McFadden. Follow us on Twitter at Daniel McFadden, at ABC Cohurst, or Catching Up 2011 is our show's
And
account.
then if you want to, I would love to hear what you all thought of Conan if you had to watch it. So you can either tweet at us, or you can hit us up on our Gmail account, which is catchinguppodcast2011@gmail.com.
Catch Up Podcast.
Catch Up Podcast 2011@gmail.com. Catch up with a C, not like condiment. It's my new catchphrase.
Thank you for listening and watching this episode of Catching Up with Aaron and Daniel.
Yep.
As we said, next episode is Goon, and you're next. So, and after that will be our first TV show episode, Person of Interest, which Aaron's only watched 2 episodes so far. He's got 22 to go.
Thank you for. I made you watch a 2-hour thing. You're taking away pretty much an entire day of my life for this. I'm going to say no more network television shows for catching up. I'm going to say maybe like 10 to 12 episodes max. So, but we'll see how it goes. Guys, thank you so much. I'm sorry for my rants. I hope you found it as entertaining as Daniel.
But thank you for listening, and we look forward to catching up with you next time.
Yeah.
Take care.
Good news.